I love Crash Team Racing. It was one of my favorite games growing up, and it still is to this day. I remember every level, every item, and every shortcut from the original, and even now I can pick it up and still compete with some of my best lap times. If the devil himself came up to me and said, "Nick, I want that soul of yours, but you can keep it if you beat me in a game of your choosing," there's a good chance I'd dig up a PS1 and pass him a controller. I still fervently believe that with its drift and power slide mechanics alone, it is hands down the best kart racer of all time, and that's before we toss in classic characters and levels like Dr. N. Jin and Papu's Pyramid. So when I saw an opportunity to jump in and play the remake, I had to see if it was shaping up to my very high standards of what I wanted to be. Thankfully, I can say with about 90% assurity that I have nothing to worry about. First off, presentation-wise, it's incredible. The 3 tracks I was able to play, Crash Cove, Polar Pass, and Dingo Canyon, look great. There's so much added detail they've packed into every nook and cranny, not only on the track itself, but particularly in the background. Polar bears climbing along banners, a train chugging along just above the track. I was so focused on the race that it wasn't until I looked over at the screen of the player next to me that I realized just how much extra there is going on off the main course. Each character also now has their own set of animations for jumping or celebrating. They've re-recorded many of my favorite characters' exclamation and taunts, while also adding new ones that fit each personality. Cortex, for example, has never seemed more like a bumbling, maniacal mad scientist than he does here. Not only that, explosions from bombs or missiles whizzed by my ears as I sped past a competitor. Potions I threw ahead landed with a satisfying splash on top of another racer. And of course, hearing the re-recorded title theme music playing through the headphones before I put them on brought back a potent wave of nostalgia. I was able to speak with the lead developer who was there to talk a bit about our experiences with the game when we were younger. I asked him what his favorite track was, if they were looking at speedrunners to balance any of the characters or shortcuts, and if battle mode was coming back, among other things. For the record, it was Hot Air Skyway. Yes, they're removing some of the shortcuts you can access by going out of bounds, but plan on keeping everything that was designed as intentional. And yes, battle mode will return. When I asked if they were considering adding a no items variant of races for online, he said that they're still evaluating their options in terms of new modes. He genuinely seemed just as big of a fan of the original as me. He said that they're trying their very best to make it control exactly like I remember, and that ultimately they will have accomplished their goal if our lap times and time trial are the same as they were in the original. As for replicating that feel, for the most part I think they've succeeded. From the moment I picked up the controller, I was tapping X to charge up my initial boost out of the gate, and immediately went into lining up my angle to get the perfect power slide around the corner. It plays just like it used to. You start sliding, you charge your turbo and hit L1 to boost up to 3 times. The longer you let it charge, the longer your boost lasts. However, it feels like they shortened the length of time that boost lasts, with it particularly being noticeable on long, straight lanes without turns. On Crash Cove, for example, after boosting into the final stretch, it used to be very easy to keep your boost going through using the turbo pads up to the finish line, but in Nitro-Fueled, I fell a little short of that. Coming out of your drift also felt just the tiniest bit off as well. I wasn't able to narrow down what it was until I went home that night and played the original again. I think they adjusted your turning radius after boosting. Whether it's how far you turn or how quickly you turn, I'm not positive yet, but it led to a couple cases where I accidentally boosted off the ledge or into a wall because my angle was off.
Not good!
That said, I could be wrong. I hadn't played the original in a few years, so I may have just been rusty. I only played for 45 minutes, and if anything, it's still an early build, so there's always room to fine-tune everything. Worst case scenario, it just means that I need to slightly adjust how I approach those turns. Nitro-Fueled still vastly exceeded my expectations, and I can't wait to pick it up and feel that rush of competition again for one of the games I play better than anyone I know. However, if Nitrous Oxide is still a dirty cheater after all these years, I'm gonna lose it.